Funding for this video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you.
What's up, punks, and welcome to the video. First and foremost, I would like to extend the biggest, greatest, grandest ever thank you to everyone for being so nice about me missing last week's video. To make a long story short,
I put a whole bag of jelly beans up my ass.
No, my body just decided to act an absolute fool, and I had to go to the hospital, see a neurologist, get some tests done. It appears as though I have a neurological condition that results in chronic migraines that mimic strokes. How cool, fun, and fresh is that? But my neurologist was absolutely lovely. She believed me. She was nice. She was validating. Woo! If you've been around here a bit, you know that I've been struggling with navigating the medical world. But then again, you might be new here. So hi, my name is Allie. I'm a 28-year-old American living in Belgium. Around these parts, we balance daily life alongside disability, celebrate mundanity, and read a whole lot of books. Speaking of books, I would love to dive back into this song and dance. I know, she missed one whole week, and she's acting like it was the end of the world. But to me, it is. The good news is that I love what I do. The bad news is that I love what I do. So when I have to take time off, it's not a fun, refreshing, exciting, welcomed break. It makes me sad, because this is how I want to spend my time. Too long didn't read. I've been in a lot of pain. My brain hasn't really been working, so I haven't been able to leave my bed much. So I've been resting. I'm still technically resting. We're gonna ease into this gently, and I'm hoping to miss as few Sundays as possible, but it may just have to happen here and there, and that's okay. Rest is productive. We should all be taking care of ourselves if our body is in turmoil. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for being so nice, because you make existing on the internet a whole lot less scary. Anyway, to ease back into things, I thought it would be fun to do the annual mid-year freakout tag. This is my third year doing so. It's a sort of bookish superlative video where you review what you've read so far in the year, you discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly, you give out some awards. I've read 67 books so far in 2023. However, looking back, it's been a strangely off year as far as subjective quality is concerned. Like, I've got a handful of DNFs, but mostly just very mid-range books that I thought were good enough but didn't blow me away. However, when it comes to best book of the year so far, it truly was a no-brainer to me, because only one book of those 67 has made it to my favorite shelf, and that book is Devotions by Mary Oliver. Now, I've said it once and I'll say it 1,000 times. I am positively certain that y'all influence me in the comments to read books and grow my TBR more than I influence any of you. And that's not a complaint, because this is one of those books that I was recommended, I would say, like 100 times or something. And I'm so glad that I listened. This is a collection of poetry that's very slow, sweet, and simple. It's all nature focused. Look at how many tabs there are in this. So many dog ears, so many colorful tabs. I loved every second of this one. What I find happens a lot with anthologies or poetry collections, you're kind of slogging through trying to find the gems. This one was a gem through and through. Definitely a book that I'm gonna have to reread if you want to start your morning in the most relaxing, stop and smell the roses type way possible. Devotions by Mary Oliver. The fact that the first question was best book, you start off the tag very strong. The next question is your favorite sequel of the year so far. And I don't read a whole lot of series. However, there's one that definitely stands out amongst the rest. And it is. Uh-oh. Am I tall enough? I'm not. What do I do? Believe in yourself is what you do. The best sequel I've read so far in 2023 was the second and third of this trilogy. I'm sure you're sick of hearing me talk about this trilogy at this point. But you know what? I can't stop, and I don't want to stop, so I'm not gonna stop talking about it. And that series is none other than Bug Boys by Laura Nutzker. They are just so good. I love them so much. It's a graphic novel series that follows two beetly best friends as they go on little adventures. It's as if Frog and Toad had a baby with Adventure Time, which is such a rare feeling to find in a story, I would say. They're technically middle grade, so they're for children, but they are a series that I believe transcends their genre. Like, if you're an adult at home and you've got kids and you read these to them at bedtime, you're gonna be able to enjoy these as well. Like, they're accessible to all ages. And if you are an adult with no offspring like me and you just like wholesome stuff, I guarantee you'll enjoy these as well. Truly, any age could benefit from the themes. Each page is chock full of cute reminders. The art is adorable. I am absolutely obsessed. I really hope that there will be more. Now with the next question, it was really hard to pick just one, so I'm not gonna, because the following prompt is asking for books that are newer releases, they're fresh on the shelves, that you're looking forward to reading. And obviously, there are many of those. One of them is Strong Female Character, which is a memoir written by Scottish comedian Fern Brady. And what made this one stand out to me is that Fern Brady is so open about her autism. And I try to read everything that features that representation. I have a whole section on my nonfiction shelf just for spectrum books, because reading has been such a helpful tool for me to better understand myself, to better understand my diagnosis, because I've only been officially diagnosed for about a year now. And so I find the more that I read from fellow autistic folks, the more at peace I am with myself, because knowledge is power. Plus, I've heard that this one is just so good. So wins all around. The next two we talked about briefly in a haul back in January, because that is how long I've had them pre-ordered. The first one is Tilly Walden's new release, Junior High. Walden is my absolute favorite graphic novel creator. I do believe that I've read and own everything that she's ever made ever, and I'm gonna continue this trend until I shrivel up and die. With this one, she joined forces with Tegan and Sarah, yes, the musical twin duo, to give us a cute, adorable graphic novel story about being in middle school. But Allie, if it's a new release, meaning it's out already, why are you just showing us a little picture on the screen? Because I live in Belgium and pre-ordering books is a dangerous game when it comes to maintaining patience and inner peace. I've had this pre-ordered for months. It's been out for weeks. It hasn't even been shipped yet. I'm getting no updates. I am losing my marbles. Let's take a deep breath together as friends, okay? The next book is Page Boy by Elliot Page. This is another memoir, and it follows Page's experience within the entertainment industry, within the movie making realm of things, but also with his experience being trans. Now again, this literally just came in the mail for me today, despite it being out for a hot minute. And so I'm so behind on the times. It should already be read. I wanted to be reading this one with all the other girlies that pre-ordered it, but alas, another deep breath. I hear that it's a lot darker than a lot of people anticipated, but I also hear that it features such delightful trans joy, which is great. So I'm so excited to read this one. Thank you for arriving. I'm sorry for being impatient. I should just be grateful that you're here and not think about the time that we lost together. Now the next prompt is very similar, and it's new releases that are yet to come out. They are upcoming releases that you're looking forward to reading. Two specifically come to mind. The first is the new Riley Sager, y'all. I'm a slut for Riley Sager. I'm sorry. I know that he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's my cup of tea. Even when his books aren't 5-star flawless favorites, I always have so much fun reading them. I don't think I've ever read a Riley Sager not in one sitting. Like, it is impossible to spread it out across a couple of days. I just love liking things with people. Anyway, this one is called The Only One Left, and it follows our protagonist who goes to this little creepy mansion house, and she is the new caregiver for this little old lady who apparently, allegedly, murdered her whole family. Like, everyone in the village is like, that's the lady that killed her whole family. And she still lives in the house where apparently these murders took place. And so now our protagonist is gonna go to this house where these murders took place and to take care of this little murderous lady. But is she a murderer? Question mark. I'm ready to find out. This one comes out end of June. I'm so excited. There's also this book called Bridge by Lauren Bukes, which comes out in August. And it's a sci-fi thriller about a daughter who is traversing across time and space, dimensions and worlds to find her dead mother. I just love mother-daughter stories. I love sci-fis written by women, and especially because sci-fi is not typically a genre that I gravitate towards. Not because I've never been wowed by it, it's just never my go-to, but I'd like to change that. So if you know any sci-fi books that are kind of on the slower, cozier side, not too convoluted, doesn't feel like a fantasy, if you catch my drift, think I Who Have Never Known Men. I would love your recommendations because I can get funky with the sci-fi. The next question goes about the same every single year, and it's asking for your biggest disappointment. Keyword, disappointment. Not worst book ever. Nay, a book that you had high hopes for and it let you down profoundly. And there are two books that fit this bill way too well, and they are The Priority of the Orange Tree and A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. These are easily the most hyped books that I've read this year, and without a doubt the biggest disappointments that I faced so far. I was just so ready to love them and join in on the hype, but unfortunately I found them overtly complicated, poorly paced, mostly boring, and just confusing. They were not my thing at all. I have a reading vlog dedicated to reading these that's almost 40 minutes long, so I'm sure this comes as no surprise. You probably already know my feelings about them, so I'll keep it short, sweet, and simple. These were not for me. Now, contrasted to the biggest disappointment of the year, let's talk about the biggest pleasant surprise of the year so far. We very recently talked about this book, so apologies in advance, but allow me to scream from the rooftops about it one more time. Well, that's a lie. It will be in my end of the year best books video, guaranteed. And it is The Bandit Queens by Perini Schroff. I took the cover off mine because I don't like it, so I'll put it right here so you know what book I'm talking about. This book rocked my world, okay? The reason this surprised me so much is that books that typically are nominated for awards or win awards often go over my head. These are typically books for hot girl smart girls, and while I yearn and work tirelessly to be a hot girl smart girl, sometimes I miss the mark. I'll admit it. So when I found out that this was nominated for the Women's Prize for Fiction, I didn't have the highest hopes. However, the concept was so good that I decided to believe in myself just once more, and I'm so glad that I did. What this book is about is a woman whose husband runs away one day, and everyone in the village thinks that she murdered him. And instead of correcting everybody, she decides to go with it because she thinks it'll give her some edge. Maybe people won't mess with a little old lady living by herself if they think she's a murderer. Right? Seems like a foolproof plan, but it's not, because now other women in the village are approaching her, asking her to help them get away with murdering their husbands. The story is slow yet thrilling. It is serious yet hilarious. It's truly taken every component of what makes a story and balanced them all so perfectly. The last 30 to 50 pages were genuinely, literally, no exaggeration, the funniest writing I have ever read ever. Strong themes, killer characters, boom. Like, I thought this book would be good, but I had no idea just how fucking good it would be. Biggest surprise of 2023, and man, do I love being wrong. Now, even just in this year alone, I read a lot of new authors for me that knocked my socks off. However, for an author to be deemed a new favorite, there has to be at least more than one book under my belt that I have deemed 5 stars, would recommend to anyone, type beat. And so for me, the author that sealed the deal for that this year was 100%, no questions asked, Yaa Gyasi. Another author where every element of the story is balanced perfectly. Now I have a Sunday book club with some friends from back home, and we decided to read Homegoing at the end of last year, and we loved it so much that we picked up Transcendent Kingdom immediately and read it at the beginning of this year. They are both flawless, in my opinion. The characters are so concise and strong. The themes are so present. You either get super great historical elements and you learn a lot, or you delve into psychological, philosophical elements and learn a lot. These are each so gorgeously written and chronically readable. Both have so many beautiful lines that you will be underlining and cherishing forever. I cannot wait for anything else that she comes out with. I will be pre-ordering them. I am a devout fan. Consider me a Yajasi evangelicist, I'm a slut for Yajasi. My brain's still not working. The next prompt I struggle with every year because it's asking for your favorite fictional crush. And I don't read a lot of romances. I'm not a big crusher. However, I'm going to share a platonic crush that I have. Characters that I would love to be BFFs with if they existed in my timeline. And those characters for me is the girl gang from Lumberjanes. I would sell an organ to have a group of girlfriends like this. Playful, whimsical, adventurous, exciting, silly. This is a summer camp comic series that features all of those elements, and I would die very happy if I were friends with these squirrelies. So, platonic crushing. The next question asks us to discuss our favorite character of 2023. And really fast, I would love to share with you my least favorite character of 2023. Just real fast. And it's Giuseppe from Everyone in This Room Will Soon to Be Dead. That guy. Anyway, my favorite characters of 2023 was either the Hive Mind from Brutes by Diz Tate or the Hive Mind and Bunny by Mona Awad. Both Brutes and Bunny were such a wild ride. I can't wait to read more from both of these authors, but particularly for this prompt, I'm just really impressed with writers who are able to take a bunch of characters that kind of count as one character and doing that right and well. Here we go again. The next prompt is asking for a book that made me cry this year. Now, I've only properly ugly cried over one book, and that was Crying in H-Part by Michelle Zauner. I read it November of 2021. However, since then, I have shed one singular tear in 3 separate instances across 3 different books. And this year, the book that allowed me to exude one droplet from my face was the 3rd book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold trilogy by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. If you're not already familiar with this super famous cozy trilogy, it is about a cafe that has the magical ability of letting its patrons visit a different moment in time. The only catch is that they have to return before the coffee gets cold. Each chapter follows a different character who wants to time travel for different reasons. And I think that all 3 books just do such an impeccable job at celebrating the many different ways that humans can connect and love each other, and I just found it so beautiful. I am still looking for a book to make me cry like Crying in H-Mart did, but alas, I'll take what I can get. The hunt continues. Oh no, am I tall enough again? We're gonna have to do a little bit of climbing to get to these next ones. You can't even see me.
Finally, I found you, Sonic! Put those grippers away!
Up next, we're going to chat about a book that made me happy, and I'm getting a lot better at reading happier books, and I think my mental health thanks me for it. I do love to be horrendously sad from time to time, don't get me wrong, but I used to only read sad books, and sometimes you just need to have a little fun. So, 2 books that I feel deserve this honorable mention are Garlic and the Vampire and Garlic and the Witch by Brie Paulson. This is a graphic novel duology that follows a high-anxietied, personified garlic bulb as she is summoned by her vegetable peers to confront a vampire that recently moved into an abandoned castle in the forest. These are such wonderfully cozy stories with very wholesome themes. They just warmed my soul, and the reason that they win this award to me personally is because, as I said, I very recently went to the hospital, and while I was there, I was just bouncing between doctor and test to waiting room, and it was just such a painful, high-anxiety time. And usually when I am faced with times like this, I can't read, I can't hold a conversation, all I can do is stare at a wall and stress out. That's usually exclusively worry time only. However, these books were able to transport me from my cold plastic chair of fears to a magical world that got me giggling in a hospital waiting room. Thank you, Brie Paulson. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The next question asks what the most beautiful book bought this year was, and I very recently dedicated an entire video to just sitting down and praising beautiful book covers, so we won't spend too much time here. However, I do have a bookishly cover-related sin that I need to confess with you all, so let's do that. As you may already know, my favorite books of forever and all time are The Monk and Robot duology by Becky Chambers, A Psalm for the Wild-Built, and A Prayer for the Crown Shy. They're no plot, just vibes, cozy fantasies, best books ever. I will not be taking questions at this time. I will not be arguing with you. It's okay if you're wrong, but it's not welcome here. And so, of course, naturally, I dedicated the rest of my life to purchasing and reading everything that Becky Chambers ever makes. And so last September, I ordered all 4 of her Wayfarer books, which are a cozy sci-fi series. Let me get them. Now, I've only read one of them so far. And you know what? The thing is, these covers upset me. like so bad. It's giving 2010 Tumblr. It's giving Galaxy leggings. It's giving baby's first MacBook, space desktop background. Now, is there anything wrong with these things inherently? Not necessarily. However, I just don't like them. And I don't think that they prep the reader for what is inside of the pages, because this series follows a colorful gang of characters traversing through time and space, going on little adventures, making tea, growing little plants in their little spaceship, and becoming best buds. These covers aren't giving that to me. Also, I spent so much time comparing book sizes so I could get 4 that match, and I was still sent one that was way too big. Just a lot of strikes. Strike 3, you're out. I'm a little bit bitter. Just a little bit. Now, there are alternate covers for this series. I believe that they are the American edition. They're the super cool, old school sci-fi series artwork style. I finally caved and I got them. I'm sorry. I just don't feel like I had much of a choice in the matter, to be honest. Okay, do I have this series twice now? Yes. Do I deserve to go to overconsumption jail? Maybe, probably. But also, do we celebrate people's special interests and collections and pleasures and passions in this house? Yes. Most importantly, yes. Don't worry, I already know it's superficial and dumb, but I think I'm way more inspired to finally pick up the rest of these books because I have the superior covers and they all match. They're all the same size. So satisfying. And now you know why. I'm sorry, but also you're welcome. The next question is, what do you need to read before 2023 comes to an end? There are so many books that I want to read this year and in my lifetime. So many books, so little time. It's a cliche for a reason, but especially for me, I not only have a TBR shelf, I literally have a complete full TBR bookshelf, top to bottom, chock full of books that I've yet to read. So I need to prioritize and I need to be realistic. So the one thing that I absolutely have to get into before 2023 rings complete is T. Kingfisher. You may be asking yourself, how in the world have you not read anything by this author yet? Fair question. Maybe it's because for whatever reason, T. Kingfisher is like impossible to find in Belgium. Do we need to have another deep breath? I think I'll be okay. I'm strong. I had to order these from the United States of America. Apparently, T. Kingfisher is an impeccable author across many genres, but the two that I'm most excited for are the horror novellas and the cozy fantasies. So here I have What Moves the Dead and A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. Are you kidding me? Sign me up 8 times. This author 100% has the potential to be a new favorite. I know that I'm late to the game, but choo choo, I have my ticket and I'm at the station ready to board. And last but not least, you're supposed to end the mid-year freakout tag by sitting down and chatting about your favorite fellow creator in the community. For whatever reason, this question is always skipped, y'all. Like the first year I did it, I didn't even know it was a question because everyone skips it. Spread the love, you weirdos! This year, I would like to just highlight one person in particular, and that is none other than Katie Marie, or Katie Marie Reads here on YouTube. Her videos randomly came up on my recommended pretty recently, and I'm so glad that they did because every time I sit down to watch some booktube over the past few weeks, her page is my go-to. She has such a great balance of chattiness and b-roll. I swear I could hear her talk about books all day long and just pretend that we're hanging out because she's someone I wish I was friends with in real life. The vibes are so cozy. We both read and love pretty similar books, but she also presents titles that I've never heard of before. If you love positive energy and abundance of smiles and cute dogs, don't sleep on this channel, y'all. She just hit 1K and I'd love for her page to get all the love in the world because she deserves it. And that's that on that. Third mid-year freakout tag in the books. I'll link the previous 2 years down below in case you're interested. I'm so jazzed to see what the rest of my bookish year holds. It's typically in the summertime that I get my most reading in and find some serious gems. So stay tuned for finding more fun favorites. Next week will finally be the great gay reading vlog. I'm so excited for it. And before I go, I love talking books with y'all, so feel free to answer any and all of these questions in the comments down below if you would like. I check them every day. I'd particularly love to know at least what your favorite book was this year because my TBR is never not growing from this cozy corner of the internet. Speaking of this cozy corner of the internet, a super huge thank you to everyone on patreon.com who make it possible for this to be my job and for keeping this all alive. I am so endlessly grateful to y'all. I cannot say it enough. So if you would like to join the club, if you would like to support this space and redeem some cool perks for yourself, that will be linked down below as well. And as always, thank you for clicking, thank you for caring, and thank you for being nice. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!